In 1972, a strange study came out. It claimed that somewhere between 35,000 and 65,000 years ago, humans had gone through a genetic bottleneck, meaning our population crashed so hard it nearly erased us. The result? A huge drop in genetic diversity across the entire species. But back then, nobody really knew why. What could have caused humanity to almost vanish? Then, in the 1990s, scientists started pointing to a massive volcanic eruption, one that happened roughly 74,000 years ago in Indonesia, Lake Toba. This eruption, it was monstrous. Some say it was 10,000 times more powerful than Mount St. Helens. Not only did it devastate the local area, but it likely threw Earth into a mini ice age. Crops failed, temperatures dropped, food ran out, and according to the theory, humans were nearly wiped out. Just 3,000 to 10,000 individuals may have survived. For a long time, this was the dominant idea. The reason our genetic pool shrank so dramatically. But recently, cracks started forming. Turns out some groups that lived right near the volcano seemed to do just fine. In fact, they survived the eruption. And new climate models? They show the eruption's global effects probably weren't as intense as once believed. Even the timing doesn't line up. The Toba eruption doesn't match the supposed population collapse. So, did the bottleneck even happen? Some researchers now think it didn't. That the genetic data from the 70s was flawed. Way too primitive by today's standards. And just like that, the once dominant theory collapsed. Talk of ancient bottlenecks mostly faded into the background until late 2023. That's when a massive new study dropped. And it made the Toba theory look like a warm-up act. Using advanced genetic analysis, researchers studied over 3,000 modern human genomes. And what they found was chilling. They uncovered evidence of a much older, much deadlier genetic bottleneck, one that happened between 800,000 and 900,000 years ago. Now remember, this wasn't modern humans. We hadn't evolved yet. These were our ancestors, early members of the Homo genus. And this event? It nearly wiped them out. The global human population may have dropped to as low as 1,280 individuals. Yeah, that's it. To put that in perspective, imagine a disaster hitting Earth today that kills 7.9 billion people and leaves only a small town's worth of survivors. It was that close. Our ancestors were technically endangered, barely hanging on. Even worse, they stayed at critically low numbers for over 117,000 years. That's over 100,000 years of scraping by, barely surviving, just clinging to life. The fossil evidence? It lines up. There's a noticeable lack of hominin bones from around 950,000 to 650,000 years ago. Almost no remains. Just a few scattered fossils from that time. And they only raise more questions. We don't even know exactly what species went extinct. Their bones don't match up cleanly with known hominin species. Some scientists suspect they weren't Homo antecessor, but were more closely related to Homo heidelbergensis, the ancient human species believed to be the last common ancestor between Neanderthals and modern humans. And here's the twist. The survivors of this ancient disaster, they may have been the very group that evolved into Homo heidelbergensis, which means this near-extinction event may have been the turning point that led to us. This actually makes a lot of sense. When a species goes through a bottleneck, there's a massive loss in genetic variation. That can cause the survivors to become genetically distinct from the original group, kickstarting new evolutionary pathways. And bottlenecks like this have done it before. They've reshaped other mammal species. So, what caused this one? Turns out, Earth was going through a major transformation. the mid-Pleistocene transition. Before this, Earth's ice age cycles were shorter, about 41,000 years each, and the ice sheets were relatively thin. But suddenly, something changed. The cycles got longer, up to 100,000 years, and the ice sheets way thicker, harsher, more intense. This shift happened between 1.25 and 0.7 million years ago, and it's believed to have been triggered by a drop in CO2 and a thinning of soil layers called regoliths. And within that shift, there was a specific cold snap around 900,000 years ago, known as the 0.9 million year event. That's what many scientists believe delivered the killing blow to early humans. This was the coldest point of the entire transition. Africa and Eurasia became dry, brutal wastelands. Grasslands expanded, forests vanished. Wildlife struggled to adapt. We even have dental evidence showing that ancient herbivores were suddenly switching diets. Proof that So after all that, here's the wild part. If even one more twist of climate, one extra bad year, or one unlucky migration had gone wrong, you and I probably wouldn't be here. Humanity, all of it, almost blinked out of existence. Not once, but maybe twice. And each time, somehow, the survivors rewrote the entire future of our species. That's what makes this story so fascinating. It's not just about volcanoes, or glaciers, or dying mammoths. It's about how close we came to never existing at all. And yet, out of that near extinction, we didn't just come back. We came back stronger, smarter, stranger. We mastered fire. We crossed continents. We built languages, cities, TikTok. Okay, some things maybe we didn't need to build, but the point is, what happened hundreds of thousands of years ago still echoes in your DNA right now. You're the product of survivors. So the next time your Wi-Fi goes out, just remember, your ancestors outran an ice age without a hoodie. And hey, if you thought this was wild, wait until you hear about the other time we almost got wiped out by a planet-wide fungus. Spoiler alert, it's like The Last of Us, but real. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next video.